Right now, the National Weather Desk, here comes Lee. The hurricane continues its march north.
We have tropical storm watches all along the coastline of the Northeast.
New England communities are getting ready for strong winds and powerful surf.
Water conditions are expected to be very dangerous.
So now it's going to hit Maine, and we're going to get a lot of rain and winds.
Austin, Texas sees rain for the first time in weeks, and more is on the way.
So we're very much praying for rain.
The concern over a drastic increase in overnight low temperatures.
The cooler summer nights may be sizzling out.
And what can be done to improve water quality in the Great Lakes region.
Balance that environmental, social, and economic perspective.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. Tropical storm and hurricane watches are now posted for much of coastal New England as Hurricane Lee continues its path north. The good news is that Lee is now a Category 2 hurricane and his path is trending a little bit more to the east, which should benefit Maine, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. Providence meteorologist Christina Ernie is tracking Lee for us this morning.
Good morning. Our latest update from the National Hurricane Center is that Hurricane Lee, still Category 2 powerful hurricane, tracking north with gusts of 120 miles per hour, passing by Bermuda on the western shoreline as a Category 2 or 1 hurricane within the next 24 hours. Then it continues its track up towards the northeast with dangerous surf, wind, and waves before turning post-tropical through the Gulf of Maine and heading over Nova Scotia. We have tropical storm watches all along the coastline of the northeast, 2 to 4 foot storm surge in some areas like Cape Cod and the islands. Dangerous ocean swells, some of which out to sea, and by the center of the storm could be up to 30 feet, and lots of coastal and beach erosion ranging from the Connecticut and Rhode Island shoreline all the way up to Maine and near tropical storm force winds. For the National Weather Desk, I'm meteorologist Christina Ernie.
And the last hurricane to make landfall in Maine was Gerda back in 1969. While Lee will lose some intensity by the time it makes landfall, its winds will likely still be strong enough to bring down trees and also some power lines. Brad Rogers is in Maine with a look at how people there are getting ready for Lee's potential arrival.
Central Maine Power says if Lee hits Maine, the combination of heavy rains and powerful winds could down hundreds of trees, causing widespread power outages. The heavy rains we've gotten all summer makes conditions even worse.
That has led to ground saturation, some flooding, soil erosion, and that really just puts a lot of stress on trees.
It's wherever the trees are the weakest, those will be the first to come down.
Turner resident Rick St. Hilaire checked in on his mother. He's seen a number of downed trees in Maine forests from heavy rains this summer. And with a hurricane heading this way, he's worried about the tall trees in his mom's Saco neighborhood.
Apparently it's changed course, and now it's going to hit Maine, and we're going to get a lot of rain and wind. So yeah, we're concerned about it. My mom lives in the neighborhood here, and there's a lot of big trees.
CMP says one sign trees may be stressed is if the leaves are already changing colors. Those might be the ones most in danger of toppling in high winds. Right now, CMP is in the early stages of getting crews in place to deal with power outages, but they say it's still too soon to tell where Hurricane Lee will end up, how much rain we may get, or how strong those winds will be.
Our meteorologists are continuously updating our teams 2, 3, 4 times a day.
Wind and rain are not the only concerns here. There will also be huge ocean waves and strong storm surge. Meteorologist Ryan Munn continues our coverage.
The waves from Lee will grow larger throughout the morning and peak mid-morning and through the afternoon. We are expecting waves upwards of 10 to 20 feet. When they grow that big, coastal impacts can be expected. Splashover is likely, and there will be the chance for coastal flooding as well. Beach erosion can be expected, and along with heavy rain, wind gusts of 40 to 50 miles per hour are likely, along with power outages. Big waves can have a lot of people going to the beaches this weekend, though it is strongly recommended that you do not go into the water. Again, water conditions are expected to be very dangerous, and town leaders in Kennebunk are removing all items off the beaches in preparation for the storm.
Boat owners in Maine are not taking any chances either. Harbor masters all along the coast are urging everyone to pull their boats out of the water and put them into storage. If the surge is big, boats left docked to their moors could suffer significant damage. There's less of a risk along the Connecticut coastline, but really some people are not taking any chances. Eliza Krasinski is in Stonington on Long Island Sound.
When it's high tide in here, the tides have definitely risen. There is going to be a surge in here. There's going to be some serious waves in here, and that breakwater right there doesn't really protect the surges.
He says the anchor systems on the moorings are much more secure these days, and the harbor is very well protected.
And they're not really so much of a mushroom anchor anymore. It's like a wedge of cheese kind of thing that gets hydrolocked into the mud. Wow. So it's actually, they're very sturdy.
And while New England will likely feel the biggest impact from Lee, most of the eastern seaboard is likely to see strong waves and rip currents. Meteorologist Matt Ritter helps us better understand and survive these dangerous ocean currents.
Rip currents are narrow currents in the surf zone that move quickly away from shore. They are very dangerous. A typical current is 50 to 100 feet wide and can extend 100 yards or more offshore. They often form at breaks in sandbars and near jetties or piers, and they are fast, with speeds of up to 5 miles per hour, faster than an Olympic swimmer. Rip currents can be difficult to see, but they can be found in areas where waves aren't breaking or where there is foam, seaweed, or discolored water being pulled offshore. So, what should you do if you find yourself stuck in a rip current? First, stay calm. If you try to fight the current, you will just get tired. The best advice to get out of the rip's grip is to swim parallel to shore. If you can't escape, float or tread water. Once you are out of the pool, you can return to shore.
And it's been a hot, dry summer in central Texas, so you can imagine how happy people in Austin were to see rain yesterday for the first time in 3 weeks. Only 1/16 of an inch of rain was recorded at the airport, so not enough to make a dent to the drought, but more rain is on the way this week. As Jessica Taylor reports, after a really hot summer, the region really needs it.
It's the simple joys in life. Here in Austin, this week, one of those joys is the impending rain showers.
Oh, it's great. I mean, we're able to actually be outside now with the weather being in our cool front being in the 90s.
Oh my gosh, it's lovely. Sweating a little now, but fall is coming.
The rain comes at a much needed time as Texans need no reminder of the scorching triple-digit temperatures seen nearly daily for much of the last 3 months. Rain broke a 3-week streak without any measurable precipitation.
This summer's been terrible.
That's to put it lightly.
Yes. This summer's, been bad.
The Austin Watershed Protection Department is monitoring the weather and debris removal, which is part of their normal operations. Their flood early warning team will watch for any changes. While this round of showers won't move the needle in terms of the lake levels, it will provide some temporary relief for the residents.
So we actually have a farm out in Cedar Creek, Texas, and so we're very much praying for rain.
Well, fill up the lakes, hopefully, or at least help with the drought conditions because, everything's brown. So green would be nice for fall.
A possible tornado touched down in Providence, Rhode Island on Wednesday. Several viewers sent us video. This right here appears to be a water sprout you're looking at. Doppler radar also indicated a tornado was in that area. Nasty weather took down trees and power lines, but no reported injuries. The National Weather Service will survey the damage to determine if a tornado was actually responsible. The storms come just days after flash flooding drenched many communities. And some parts of Massachusetts also got showers this after days of rain that led to destructive flooding in the town of Leominster. The railroad tracks running through town are washed out. Storm drains overrunning with rain even 36 hours after 11 inches of rain fell in 5 hours. One neighborhood cut off after the flooding washed out a bridge. Severe weather moved through the Phoenix area as well early this week, causing major damage and knocking out power for thousands of people. High winds pushed over at least 6 planes and an airport. Other areas saw downed trees and power lines falling, as well as damage to homes. The severe weather also included golf ball-sized hail and triggered flash flooding in central Phoenix. And check this out right here. Now, this is early Wednesday morning in Iowa before sunrise, and the fog rolled in, and folks there, you can see it right here. They could barely see in front of them. And it stayed that way essentially until sunrise. The morning sun started to heat up the ground. Eventually, the fog gave way. And you know what? It turned out to be a pretty nice day. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, new information on the eruption of Hawaii's Kilauea volcano and where the lava is flowing this morning and figuring out ways.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with Look at the Northeast. The back edge of any showers and thunderstorms from yesterday have moved out. Today's going to be a good-looking day. Temps will be in the 70s. We have low humidity for a change. Notice the high thin clouds associated with Hurricane Lee. That will get into the Northeast on Friday. Now, the rain and wind associated with Lee becoming post-tropical cyclone Lee before it makes its way up into the Bay of Fundy. That will be arriving on Saturday. Most of eastern New England will get heavy rain and wind.
I'm meteorologist Jonathan Myers, and here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. Really nice to start. Temperature's going to be in the 60s to around 70 by 9 a.m., up and down the 95 corridor. Look at those 70s to right around 80 degrees in the afternoon with some sunshine returning. A little bit of a breeze, too. Any showers from our latest weather maker, a cold front moving to the east, but that brings us some really nice weather to wrap up the week and head on into the weekend. That's the scene here.
I'm meteorologist Vetus Reed. Here's a look at your southeast forecast highs for the day. We're looking at temperatures in the 80s from Nashville, 83 degrees, 85 in Raleigh, 86 in Charleston, holding those 90s in Jacksonville down towards West Palm as we continue to see a front pushing in across the southeast. A few spotty showers that may occur as we go through the afternoon. A little bit of sunshine behind it, but take a look at Lee as it continues to move up just off the coast of Bermuda. Looks like they'll have some effects from that storm, but we'll just have some spotty showers through the evening.
And as we continue to track Hurricane Lee's path to New England, meteorologist Emily Santom looks back on Lee's formation off the African coast and his long journey through the Atlantic Ocean.
Over to the tropics off the west coast of Africa, clusters of thunderstorms begin to develop, attempting to organize together above warm 80-degree ocean waters. These clusters then swirl together into something called a tropical wave, or a tropical depression as we know it. Now, for context, a tropical depression has sustained winds up to 38 miles per hour. The next upgrade is a tropical storm, which is stronger with winds ranging from 39 to 73 miles per hour. A hurricane is the strongest and most dangerous with winds 74 miles per hour and higher. Now, there are three components to a hurricane: the eye wall, and the rain bands, which contain the thunderstorms. Inside the eye is a calm 30-mile diameter as opposed to the eye wall, which has winds that can reach up to 200 miles per hour. Taking a look at Lee from the past 5 days, it has had its ups and downs and at one point became a Category 5 storm. Since then, its winds decreased and is now a Category 2 storm. Moving forward, Lee is beginning to impact the Maine coast by this weekend, bringing rain, wind, and coastal hazards.
Search teams continue combing the streets of Derna, Libya, looking for victims of this week's flood. 2 dams collapsed Sunday, leaving behind a mass of muddy destruction. More than 5,000 people are now confirmed dead. Rescue workers are having a tough time getting to the Mediterranean city because many roads simply have been washed away. Emergency officials say as much as a quarter of the city simply disappeared. Hawaii's Kilauea volcano is still spewing lava this morning, but it's confined to the summit of Derna within Volcanoes National Park. The eruption began on Sunday. The region's volcano alert level remains at watch with no people or buildings in immediate danger. Now thousands of people are making the trek to the Big Island to see the eruption in person. Since 1970, Climate Central says we've gained nearly 2.6 degrees in our average low summertime temperature across the country. Meteorologist Ryan Miranda breaks down why something like hot summer nights could be worse than summer days for our health and also our wallet.
After a sweltering summer day, we can always count on the sun going down and the temperatures to follow. But in a warming world, the cooler summer nights may be sizzling out.
So overnight lows, or those very early morning temperatures, are warming at twice the rate of our daytime high temperatures, and they can have profound impacts on our health.
That's Lauren Casey, a meteorologist for Climate Central, who is saying when people are looking for heat relief the most at night, they're having a harder time cooling off.
But what's even more so can be more dangerous for our bodies are those overnight lows that don't cool down, that only drop down to 75 degrees, even worse, 80 degrees. We open that window even further to the risk of heat illnesses.
Not only is it physical, but also financial. Higher air conditioning demands means higher energy bills as the extra money goes straight out of your wallet just to keep you comfortable. Not to mention, air conditioning isn't the cleanest for the environment and pollution.
And that economic hit can, of course, take a toll on our mental health as well. And you don't want to have to make the decision between your health and can I pay my energy bill? It's not a choice we should be forced into making.
An average of 2.6 degrees of warming may sound minimal compared to flash flood washing away houses, tornadoes, whipping winds, or thunderstorms, cracks of lightning. It is still a big number, though, especially since heat is the deadliest weather-related hazard in the United States, according to the National Weather Service.
In Wisconsin, hundreds of scientists and conservationists are gathering to discuss ways to improve water quality in the Great Lakes. Green Bay is an area of major focus. Eric Peterson has more on what officials are doing to address the water quality concerns.
Over the decades, the waters of the lower Fox River and lower Green Bay have been through many changes, being classified by the United States and Canada as an area of concern in 1987.
And the reason why it was designated as an area of concern is because we had really significant contaminated sediment issues, right? We had the PCB problem. We also had a lot of loss of fish and wildlife habitats.
Bree Kupski is with the DNR Office of Great Waters. She says coastal wetland loss could have reached 90%. Another issue is water quality. UW Green Bay senior researcher Erin Giese says sediment runoff impacts the entire watershed.
Like everything that's on the surface of this earth, when it rains, is going to run off into our waterways and into the bay.
But scientists say there are stories of success. In Howard, the Cat Island Chain Restoration Project stretches 2.5 miles into the bay using dredged material to create new habitat. The endangered piping plover has nested here since 2016. Conservationists say planting gardens with native vegetation helps, and that's not all.
It's important to limit the amount of pesticides and herbicides you place on your lawns, and also grass clippings are a good thing to remove. Sweep them up or blow them back into your lawn to prevent that from running off into the bay.
Several parts of the country have seen severe storms this week, leading to something called heat lightning, but it's probably not what you think. Meteorologist Marshall McPeak explains.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Marshall McPeak. We've had some storms recently that have involved what a lot of folks call heat lightning. Now, that's kind of a misnomer because it's not actually the heat that causes the lightning, but the heat does help cause some storms. So here's what's really happening. Let's say you've got some clear sky at your house, but about 15, 20 miles away, there's a convective storm. Now, let's talk about that convective storm first, because it's important to make the distinction. When we have clouds as far as the eye can see, just a cloud deck that's thick and you can't see an individual storm, it makes it difficult for this heat lightning to happen. You need clear sky where you are and a storm in the distance. Convective storms can tend to happen on their own, so you can actually see the individual storm. So when that's developing the lightning, you can see it from all the way out here. The house that's closer to the storm is still going to hear that lightning. It only takes about 5 seconds for the lightning to create the thunder and the thunder to travel about a mile. The thunder goes pretty fast, but only at the speed of sound. Of course, the lightning, speed of light. So the difference is, if you're close to the storm, you hear the thunder. But out here where it's clear, you're 10, 15 miles away, the sound attenuates. It dissipates with distance. So what happens then is you see the lightning, but you don't hear any thunder because you're too far away. Some of these storms you can see 40, 50, even 80 miles away if they're big enough. So you'll see the lightning but not hear the thunder. So that's what we call heat lightning. But when you see it happen, it's really just that you're too far away to hear the thunder.
Well, time for a short break, but first, a flight above the Pacific Ocean near San Francisco.
Good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael. Take a look at your weather story across the Midwest for the next few days here. Some rain across the plains here, slowly going to be working its way to the east, and a lot of sunshine out ahead of that with temperatures in the 70s and a few 80s across the Midwest for the coming days. Friday, notice it's still in the 70s there in the Dakotas for Friday. That rain, again, continued slowly working its way towards the Ohio Valley over the next few days, but temperatures running pretty comfortable.
Good Thursday morning to you. Meteorologist Chris Suchet. Look at our forecast today across the region, starting off with a few pockets of some showers and thunderstorms, and that'll continue through the afternoon. The Austin area around San Antonio, Houston could get some heavy late day storms. Temperatures cool for most of the region, 70s and 80s, hot in South Texas. And then here's Friday. Again, a scattering of some showers and thunderstorms will be possible. Temperatures from the 70s, 80s to lower to mid 90s as we step into the weekend. And Saturday will also have a rain chance as well.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Rebecca Stevenson. Here's what's happening across the West. A big warming trend coming up the coastline from California into western Washington. And further south, we've got temperatures staying mainly in the 80s and 90s. But this is where a cold front is continuing to cause some heavy rain and thunderstorms stretching across the Four Corners. That brings the potential of flash flooding while the coast stays nice and dry. That's the scene from here.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Well, there have been a lot of storms across the country this week, and that means lots of lightning, but not all lightning is the same. Theron Zahn shares some facts about this fantastic and dangerous weather phenomenon.
Some of the most dramatic and damaging weather involves lightning. It's also very dangerous. According to the National Weather Service, at any time there are around 2,000 lightning storms happening around the world. The NWS says every year in the U.S., around 100 people die from being hit by lightning or from fires caused by lightning. Lightning and thunder are produced in a storm at the same time. The reason you often hear thunder after seeing the lightning is because light and sound travel at different speeds. Sound travels around 760 miles an hour, but even at that speed, the flash gets to you first. Lightning can strike miles from the center of a storm. That's why with any hint of lightning, take shelter.
And we'd love to share your weather content on the air. You can find us on all of your favorite social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Just search the National Weather Desk. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown. Tomorrow on the National Weather Desk, we'll continue to track Hurricane Lee as it approaches New England, plus a look at the rise of indoor vertical farming. Make it a great day, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.